Hello everyone, welcome to Simple English Hub, where we make learning English easy, practical, and fun. Today, we are going to talk about one of the most powerful ways to improve your English listening. Have you ever felt frustrated because you understand written English but struggle when people speak fast? Do you ever watch movies or listen to podcasts and feel lost because the words seem to blend together? If so, you are not alone. Many learners focus on grammar and vocabulary, but forget that listening is the key to mastering a language. The better you listen, the better you will understand native speakers, and, surprisingly, the better you will speak as well. In today's lesson, I will teach you step-by-step methods to improve your English by listening, including practical exercises, real-life examples, and techniques that will help you understand fast English, learn natural pronunciation, and even improve your own speaking skills. So, stay with me until the end. Grab your notebook, and let's dive into it. First, let's talk about why listening is so important. Many learners believe that fluency comes from speaking a lot, but in reality, speaking fluently starts with listening fluently. Think about how babies learn a language. Before they ever say a word, they spend months just listening to the people around them. They don't study grammar or memorize vocabulary lists, but over time, they start to understand and then naturally begin to speak. The same process applies to learning English. The more you listen, the more familiar English sounds, structures, and expressions become, and soon, you will find yourself speaking more naturally. If you want to improve, you need to practice active listening, which means engaging with what you hear, repeating words, and focusing on understanding meaning, pronunciation, and tone. One of the best ways to improve your listening is by choosing the right materials. Many learners start with difficult content, like news channels or complex TED Talks, and get discouraged when they don't understand anything. Instead, start with something just slightly above your level, not easy, not too difficult. For example, if you are a beginner, start with simple podcasts, children's shows, or slow-spoken audiobooks. If you are at an intermediate level, try TV series with subtitles, or YouTube videos, where speakers talk naturally but clearly. One of my friends, who is now fluent, started by watching Friends with subtitles. At first, she struggled, but she kept watching the same episodes again and again until she started understanding more and more. Eventually, she removed the subtitles, and now she can understand native speakers without problems. This method is called repetitive listening, and it's one of the best ways to train your ears. Another powerful technique is pause and repeat listening. Instead of just listening once, break the audio into small sections. Play one sentence, pause, repeat it out loud, and try to copy the pronunciation, rhythm, and tone. This method, also known as shadowing, helps you not only understand English better but also improves your pronunciation and speaking fluency. For example, let's say you're listening to a podcast and you hear the sentence, "I totally agree with you." Pause, repeat it exactly how the speaker said it, and move on. Doing this every day will make English feel more natural in your mouth. Another great way to improve listening is to focus on common sounds and contractions. Native speakers often don't pronounce every word clearly. Instead of saying, "What are you doing?" they say, "What ya doing?" Instead of "going to," they say, "gonna." These small changes make English sound much faster, and many learners struggle because they don't recognize these patterns. To get used to this, listen to natural conversations and write down phrases that seem fast or unclear. Then, find the actual words and compare them. Over time, you will start recognizing these shortcuts and understanding native speakers more easily. One of my students used to struggle with fast English, but after a few weeks of studying contractions and practicing with real conversations, he told me, "Now, I don't feel lost anymore when listening to native speakers." Now, let's talk about how to train your to think in English while listening. Many learners first translate English into their native language, which slows them down. To break this habit, try to visualize what you hear instead of translating. For example, if you hear the sentence, "The man walked into the store and bought a cup of coffee," don't translate it. Just imagine a man entering a store and ordering coffee. The more you do this, the faster your brain will process English naturally. Another way to boost listening skills is to ask yourself questions while listening. Instead of just playing a podcast, pause and think, what is the main idea? What is this speaker trying to say? This helps you engage with the content actively, instead of just hearing random words. Try listening to short stories and guessing what happens next. This will train your brain to focus and improve your comprehension skills. To truly master listening, you should also practice listening at different speeds. Many learners rely on slow-speed English, which is good for beginners, but doesn't prepare you for real conversations. Start by listening to slow audio, then gradually increase the speed. A great trick is to listen to a YouTube video at normal speed, then slow it down to understand better, then play it at full speed again. This method trains your ears to get used to different speaking styles and accents. Speaking of accents, another great way to improve listening is to expose yourself to different English accents. English is spoken in many countries, and accents can vary greatly. If you only listen to one accent, you might struggle to understand others. Try listening to American, British, Australian, and even Indian or African English speakers. A great way to do this is by watching movies from different countries or listening to international podcasts. One of my students once told me, "I could understand American English, but when I spoke to a British person, I was lost." This happens because different accents emphasize different sounds, so training your ear with variety will make you a stronger listener. Lastly, remember that improving listening takes time, patience, and daily practice. It's okay if you don't understand everything at first. The key is to keep going, stay consistent, and trust the process. Start with simple audio. Use repetition, shadow native speakers, recognize common contractions, and gradually increase the difficulty. Even just 15 minutes of focused listening every day will make a huge difference over time. And that's it. Today, we covered how to improve English by listening using practical techniques like active listening, repetition, shadowing, recognizing contractions, and training your brain to think in English. Remember, listening is not just about hearing words. It's about understanding, engaging, and using what you hear to improve your own speaking skills. Keep practicing daily, and soon, you'll be able to understand native speakers effortlessly. If you found this lesson helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment sharing your favorite listening practice method. Let's keep learning together, and I'll see you in the next lesson.